Hello, Ivy and Jazmine. Thank you so much for joining the Black Women Amplified podcast. You have no idea how excited I am. I am a crystal fanatic.
Oh,
So when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, are they decolonizing the industry?
yes, we are. Yes, yes, we are. One rock at a time.
One rock at a time.
That's right.
Before
That's
we get into the whole story of how you own a mind, the whole process, I want to know more about the village that raised you because who even thinks that one day I'm going to own a mine?
Definitely not us. I mean, I used to run nonprofits. Ivy used to be a celebrity florist. We both always had an independent entrepreneurial spirit to us, but never in a million years do we think we would be minors or mine owners.
And that's just how life works.
Yeah.
Like the universe kind of brings things to you when you're supposed to have them.
Yeah.
So I think we were just in a place ready to receive, and we received.
Yeah, right place, right time, and right hearts. We were both very open to it. So and that kind of leads to our story about how we got here.
Now, before you bought the mine, were you all crystal girls and outdoorsy people?
So we'll tell you the story of how we got here.
Okay, go ahead.
We were very much outdoorsy people. We were very much rock hounds. We'd go to the beaches and in the woods and pick up rocks and stones all the time. And during the pandemic, we live in LA, and our girls were out of school for several months.
Mhm.
We decided to go up to Northern California, to Mount Shasta,
Okay.
to get, he said, we're going to go spend a week in the woods. And we rented a cabin and we packed up the minivan and we drove up to Northern California. And so we were going to waterfalls one after another. And we were on one waterfall and we see a Black woman. There are very few Black people in Northern California.
In this area, yeah.
Especially in this area of Northern California. And she was an older Black woman with her niece, and they were walking away from the waterfall that we were going to. And this is in the height of the pandemic where everybody has their masks on outside. And, we were okay, we gave her the nod and she gave us the nod, and she stopped and we said, hey, how was the waterfall? She said, it was great, but you've got to go to this other waterfall. It's called Bernie Falls. And, we were okay, and she's like, no, you've got to go to this other. Yeah. So we're like, okay, our day. And we look up the waterfall and it's like 2 hours away. We're like, you know what? Tomorrow's our last day. We'll go tomorrow. And went home and got up the next morning and made the 2-hour trek to Bernie Falls. Well, we're about about a mile away, Bernie Falls, and there's a man in the middle of the road and he's waving his arms. And so we slow down and, we roll down the window and we were like, are you okay? And he said, no, I hit a deer. And so we were like, well, his car's all mangled up, and he's like, I've been out here for hours, I can't, there's no cell reception. Nobody will stop. And so we were like, we try to call 911, no cell reception. And, by then it's like, we'd already been talking to him. We just looked at each other. We said, we've got to help this guy. Put on your mask, get in the car. And we drove him.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Put their hand up.
This is already sounding like a Lifetime movie.
It gets better because it's more of a Lifetime movie aspect to it later on.
It does.
So we drove him to the next town, and he looked harmless. I'm from Philly, so I had a golf club in my car.
Okay, you were ready. We're ready.
We're ready. You're like, we can take him if we need. And so we drove him to the next town. And we called, he called AAA and he called his wife. And now we realize he's in the middle of a road trip. So it's like nowhere near to help him. AAA is like, look, you can't get in the car with us because of the pandemic. We'll take the car, but not you. So we're like, we can't just leave this guy on the side of the highway. So we said, we're committed now. We drive him back and we're like, we're going to wait with you to get towed and then we'll drive you back to the town.
Mhm.
Well, 7 hours later, we've gotten to know each other a little bit. And, he's asking, what are you guys doing in the middle of the woods? And we're like, oh, we're LA girls. We're just getting out of the city with our kids. And, we got our crystals and we're just, getting some Zen up here. And he goes, wait, you guys like crystals? We're like, yeah. And so he's like, well, I happen to own crystal mines. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
Why you're about to tell us about?
So we spent the next several hours looking at pictures and he's showing us this. And we're like, these are all domestic mines. This is amazing.
Like, who knew? It's like literally underneath your feet.
Who knew?
So this is up in Northern California by Mount Shasta.
Northern California. Yep.
How far are you from Mount Shasta?
We're about 12 hours.
Okay.
A 12-hour drive. So we're on
No, I
vacation.
mean, when you're riding with him, you're 12 hours away from Mount Shasta?
No, we're about 2 hours because we were staying in Mount Shasta and the waterfall that we went to was 2 hours from where we were staying.
Okay.
So gotcha. We end the day, we exchange information because he's like, next time he's like, it's my happy place, like going mining. Like, so next time the mine opens, he's like, you guys have gone out of your way to stay with me and help me. He's like, next time I go mining, I want you to come as my guest. And that's where the Lifetime movie starts.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
We stay in touch. And 4 months later,
this is a lot of trust.
And he calls us and he says, girls, he's like, the mine is open. Mm-hmm. He's like, it's up in Nevada. Drive on up and meet us up there. And we, looked at each other. We called our parents. Yeah. And we were like, let's do it. We'll get a hotel. We'll just meet them at the mine. And let's do it.
Let's go meet our hitchhiker.
Yeah, let's go meet
with all of his early friends. Yes, with all of his mountaineer friends. Let's go meet him.
Now you all were the only Black folk on the excursion.
For miles.
Okay.
For miles.
And so we drove up there 4 months later and we got up to we get into a vehicle with them because you can't drive the minivan up the mine. You need a 4x4. We get into the car with them, drive all the way up. It's like a 5-mile ride and you get to the top and it's like the most breathtaking and beautiful place that you can imagine. There's crystals all over the ground. It's a very small private operation that they run. Mm-hmm. So you're up there with about like 10, 15 people tops. And we just both fell in love. We both fell in love. And we, again, looked at each other. We've been best friends for 25 years. So, when you look at your bestie and you're like, right. But we're like, this is what we're about to do for the rest of our life. We're about to be miners. Like, I don't know how.
So there was no verbal conversation. You just look at each other.
No, we just were like, this is it.
Nothing else that mattered from that moment on.
Now, we're a little bit backstory. How did you all meet and become besties? Like, I want to know all the secrets. Because I have a bestie of 30 years and we know all of each other's secrets.
We met in college. I went to Spelman. Ivy went to Howard. And we met because I used to drive up and hang out at Howard every other weekend. I used to party at Howard.
Because that's where the boys were.
So I would drive up and I would hang out with, I had another bestie that went to Howard. She would fly down to Atlanta every other week and I would drive up. Her mom worked for the airline, so she could fly for free. So she would fly down every other weekend and I would drive up every other weekend. And that was just how we hung. And they were friends and we became friends and we never looked back. Well, all of us are still in a group chat.
Oh, wow.
25 years later. And it's, we live down the street from each other. Our girls are like a year and a half apart. And so we raised them as cousins and, we're inseparable. It's funny. One of our business partner calls us and he's like, I know the other one's sitting right there. And we're like, yes, always.
Now, Ivy, you were a celebrity florist.
Yes.
So
what is thing that I, went for and followed my heart. It was something that I learned back in high school. And I started business then by doing the boutonnieres and corsages for prom. And I had like a little operation in my garage, and my parents were my cashiers, and you're able to like place your order and tell me your dress color, and I would make your corsage for prom. And that's how I started my business. And all through college, I always had like some kind of gram business where I delivered, a turkey basket during Thanksgiving if you couldn't go home. And I always had that kind of business going. And then after college, after working corporate, I decided to follow my heart.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had an amazing job. I worked for the Washington Post, and the owner of the Washington Post was my college mentor. And he is the one that pulled me to the side. And because I used to do flower classes in the back conference room for all the employees. That's what we would do during lunch. And he found out I was doing that. And he said, you know what? I think you should follow your heart. He was like, you really, really are good at this. And maybe you should maybe this is something that you could pursue, have your own business. And at the same time, Jazmine was moving into New York, and she convinced me to move to New York City.
I'm sure it wasn't hard. It's New York City.
We all did New York for a couple of years too.
We did. And it was the best time. We were in our 20s, and we all had these great jobs. And New York City, like as 4 Black women, we were like the black.
We were like the Black Sex in the City.
We really were. Yeah.
I don't want to know those stories.
Minus the sex part, but we did do the bar hopping.
Oh yeah.
Listen, New York is one of those places, the only place I've been to where you come out of the club at 7 a.m, go right to breakfast, and then go to bed.
Yeah. Oh, we did a lot.
And then you still had the to be able to just go to work.
Yeah. And that was your 20s. That's what the 20s were for. And so, I did that. And then
and what some of the events that you worked on?
Well, it started back in 2004. Okay. And I worked for Will and Jada Smith for at least 18 years. Brandy and Ray J for 18 years, Kim Kardashian for years, Tisha, Campbell, and that whole crew. I do Black Hollywood, basically.
I understand.
And I became their Santa Claus and their like Easter bunny. And so one of my jobs was to come in the middle of the night and stuff the stockings and bring out the big toys. Oh. And I was kind of curious person who was always bringing out the toys and baskets, and I would leave bunny print, feet marks coming out of their door.
Elaborate. And now, how did you adjust to doing such glamorous work to literally digging in the ground? How did
what? Everyone always. They always think it was so glamorous, right? And because I'm going.
Well, I know it's hard work.
No, I'm going to amazing homes, and I'm able to see these celebrities. But I'm the employee. I work in their home. I have to be quiet, and I have to not leave any dirt, and I'm cleaning, and I'm, and it's frustrating. And for me, it was challenging because I had to come up with these new concepts and outdo every single year, from the last year. They wanted their tree bigger and better than so-and-so's down the street. So now I got to come up with something huge, and different for their. And so it was every year I would get knots in my stomach when the holidays would come around. So I knew I was going to climb those big trees that I dreaded. And, this was my first year because of us being able to move into this new industry where I did not have to climb a Christmas tree, and it was glorious.
So the pandemic was like a welcome to break.
It was bad. And I was able to say no for the first time. I always dealt with people who were like, well, of course you're going to be here, and one of my clients said, well, Ivy, I don't even know how to do Christmas. They're like, you've always done my Christmas. So how do I even do Christmas? And I'm like, okay, look, you're going to learn today. You are going to learn today because I'm not doing your Christmas. And I put my foot down, and we went full force with this because I rock business. And now we are developing it to become the industry changer. I honestly feel Like although we're unicorns coming into the room of all these miners and mine owners, we are going to change this industry and make it one of inclusion and empowerment. And we will not be the last Black people that will.
When I was thinking about this, all I could think about is the movie Blood Diamond and all of the copper mines and all of the and so when I saw that you all owned this, your name is on, I was like, look at God.
Yeah.
Like, great. I call my girlfriends and I call it the Great Restoration is happening, right?
Exactly.
The Great Restoration.
And it's in Georgia.
Yeah.
And like Plantation Town in Georgia. Like when
the mine is in Georgia.
Yeah, yes. so we are the first African American women to have ownership in a domestic crystal mine. And so our mine is in Georgia. It's about 2 hours southeast of Atlanta. It's an amethyst mine that actually used to be owned by Tiffany Co.
I read that and I was like, wait a minute. Everything I read was like, am I reading this right?
Yes.
Wait. Yeah. Like Tiffany and Company owned this land.
Yes.
Is it an actual mountain?
No, it's actually the great thing. So what we've learned, and we've had a crash course in the last several years about mines. They're all different. It's, it's where the mineral is growing. This mine is actually under a lake. And so twice a year, we drain the water out of the lake into OSHA approved retention ponds. And we go down there in the bottom of the lake in the mud and mine in the mud and in the basin of this lake. And this lake is in like the backwoods and backwoods Georgia. Downtown. Backwoods Georgia.
Like it is very not Atlanta. So how far is it from Savannah?
2.5 hours. They said it's right in the middle.
It's about 2.5 hours from 2.5 hours like southwest of Savannah, and it's 2.5 hours southeast of Atlanta.
So I'm sorry. I'm real excited right now. You have no idea. Like literally, I have crystals everywhere.
I love
it.
Jazmine, you worked in. Wash. Say that again.
We'll have to send you one from us that you can wash.
Listen.
I
would be like a little kid. Christmas. I was out with my best friend the other day, and there was like this outside venue that had little vendors, and there was a table with all crystals. And I was right behind her, like I'm sure you all are. And then suddenly, I guess she felt me stop. She turned around, she saw the crystal table. She said, "Not today. Come on."
So the thing that's cool about when we first went mining, we went up the mountain, like we said, and we just both were in awe. And they, showed us, just look, just use a toothbrush and brush it off with some water, and just look how it goes from this to this. And we were like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. So we went back to our hotel and we started the bathtub, and we were like, we're going to dump them all into the bathtub, which we now know would have been a horrible idea because it would have stopped the plumbing.
Yeah.
But so we started doing a couple in the sink while we were waiting for the bathtub to fill up. And it was like, oh my God, look how easy with just a toothbrush, it just goes from like this dirty ball into like a gem. And this is one of the ones, this has just been cleaned with a toothbrush. I know they can't see it, but I know you.
I can see it. Is it a quartz?
Yeah, it's on a necklace. And this mine is smoky quartz. It's smoky quartz, and it has it has citrine and amethyst running through it at this particular mine. This one is just smoky with citrine in it. Beautiful. And so we were like, this is an idea. Like, hold on a second. And it was like at that moment, like we were still in the high day that we were like, wait a minute, I think that we could bring this to other people as like an activity for people to do. And so we had scheduled a birthday party for one of Ivy's old clients. It was like the pandemic, we were just coming out of it, and we were like, let's do this. We were doing this private birthday party in a backyard where everybody's social distancing with the mask and the whole nine. And we set up these little jars with dirty crystals in them. And we were like, you can take it and just wash it off. And reveal your crystal. Let's see how this works. And we got our little label makers and labeled them all because I rock. You know, we come up with a name and we got some bags and put some stickers on them. And we were like, oh, we have a company. This is what we're doing. And it was a hit. It was like, they were like, I've never seen anything like this before.
And these are all celebrity kids.
The coolest thing ever.
Who have seen everything.
And so we were like, let's give it a little bit more thought. We did a couple more like events and we started kind of coming up with a concept for a box. And within about a month and a half, we were like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sell these dirty crystals and let people wash them. And for the last 2 years,
that's amazing.
Really done. It's nobody is doing it in the industry. We mine them all domestically ourselves. So we mine them from either Nevada, Georgia, or New York. So they're all US grown. We leave the dirt still on them and allow customers to wash them themselves. And it's like, you talk about how you love crystals and you see them in stock. You've never held a crystal that's just straight from the mine, where nobody else has touched it. Nobody else has cleaned it or washed it or brushed it off. And you're the very first person to see it. And so like for us to be, go ahead.
Tell us about the differences between crystals, because crystals are everywhere now. It used to be just like for the woo-woo kids, you know, or the alternative folk. But now you see them everywhere, not just in jewelry, but people have crystals around them. And I know the younger generation loves crystals. So, but I often see crystals that look like what's the difference between like a manufactured crystal and an unearthed crystal?
Well, I think that one thing is that crystals been around since the beginning of time.
Right.
And you know, one of the crystals that we have are called Herkimer diamonds. They are 450 million years old.
Oh, wow.
So they're the oldest quartz known to man. We also have our amethysts are about 50 million years old, 40 to 50 million years old. And then our smoky quartz are about 1 to 10 million years old, depending on the size. Crystals have been around since before humans, since before animals, since before anything. And then just in ancient culture, they've been used from the beginning of time, you know, from the beginning of cultures. I was actually, we both listened to a great podcast earlier today that was talking about just the power, like crystals are in your watch, in your cell phone, in your battery, especially quartz, the type of crystal that we mine. But we like to say that we balance that line between the woo-woo and science. We do a lot of school presentations where we really focus on the mineralogy, you know, and how it grows and where it grows and what conditions need to be right for it to grow. But in our belief, it's that they're living and growing things just like you and I, and just like plants. They give off energy, and they have a frequency. And when you align your frequency, or when you use your crystal to help your frequency align with what you're focused on, then that's how it empowers you. It's not like a magic amulet or a token that, oh, I'm gonna carry this one, I'm gonna get rich. You know, like, you know, people say, which one do I need for money? Well, you may need a stronger foundation. So you might need something that is going to help your root chakra. You might need to be a better orator. So you might need something that's going to help your throat chakra. You might need to let go of your hurt in your heart. And so you might need something that's going to open your heart chakra. Like it's for you to make money. It's not about somebody giving you a chip that's like a lucky penny. You know, it's about what are you doing the work on yourself, and how are you aligning your own frequency to be able to receive that. So when we started and we said, you know, like this life kind of chose us and we were ready to receive it at the right moment. Like people always put their hand up, like, you stopped and you picked this guy up. Well, and you were ready to receive it at that moment. We both were in a place where like, we're here to start something different with our lives, you know, and we didn't know the form of a hitchhiker on the side of the road, you know, but.
So were you all already in the conversation of we need to do something different?
I mean,
or we need to open up a business together, or were you in that conversation already?
It was a pandemic. We both were out of work. I ran a nonprofit that was encouraging kids to get out and play, and we weren't allowed to go anywhere.
Right.
Ivy's, clients, it's the same thing. We had to do social distancing. So it was here and there. We might be able to get a little something, but it was at the most part for two independent people. We were out of luck, so it was really a time of like, what are we going to do? How are we going to start making money? Like, how are we going to feed these kids? And part of going away was like, let's just clear our minds for a moment.
Right.
Ironically, before we left, we went to go see our guy that we buy crystals from, and he's like, I'm thinking about selling my business. We were like, like, good thoughts, and then we go and we meet this guy, and it didn't happen immediately, but it's happened so fast at the same time. And it really was just faith, like having faith that what we were walking into was something that was better than what we were coming out of. And, we still we're working now, like I'm saying, is we decided we were going to be crystal miners, and we decided this is what we were going to do, but we didn't know how we were going to do it. And we went back to, our kids nicknamed the guy that hit the deer Mark. Because he hit a deer, it's a DEER. And so we called Dear Mark after we went mining, and we said, how do we become miners? And he's like,
he was like, slow down.
Yeah. Slow down. I invited him to guest. And we were like, no, we want to do this. We want to do this. And he's like, well, call Paul, one of the guys you met on the mine. And so we called Paul, and Paul agreed to mentor us through the industry. And so, like, come on up. He's like, let's sit down and talk. So we drove up to his house in Sausalito, and we, brought our kids with us, like, that kids again.
Sausalito off of San Francisco?
Yes, San Francisco. And so we drove up, and we have some friends that stay in Oakland. So we stayed with them and then drove over to his house that next morning. And we said, hey, we how do we do this? And, our skills are, we used to be event planners, and we know how to do things. We're hard workers. We know how to put things together. And we think that you should take people on mining trips, and we'll organize all of it. And he's like, that's not a bad idea. So we started a company with him called Peak Experience, where we take people on like high-end mining trips to these mountains. They're only open a limited number of days a year. So we take them to two different, either the Georgia mine or the Nevada mine. It's, a full immersive experience. We give them the mining gear, and we polish up stones for them, and everybody gets pieces of jewelry made. And, we document the whole thing for them. So it's like one of those once in a lifetime trips that we put together as like once in a lifetime experience, adventure. And we work between them. For us, we're the coordinators of it all, and we sell these trips. And so for us, it was a way for us to be able to keep going mining. Yeah. You're like, but in it,
innovative.
We realized this whole other market that we had started with, Because I Rock, really had such legs to it. And so, we've worked with them over the last 2 years. Which leads us to the mine ownership.
Right.
So you did experiences before you purchased the mine. Okay.
And we just worked with them in partnership with the two mines. We developed this whole package and this whole, adventure and experience. And these mines were owned by a collective of owners that have all, they've all been friends for forever. It's a very small collective. They own mines all over the world. They're actually, they're one of the top 6 mine owners in the world collectively. And, we just became like family. We just jumped right in. Paul's like our mentor. We call him Papa Smurf. And they just accepted us and embraced us in a way that it just felt right, but it was, it just was the right place at the right time, and the right feeling, and the right kind of people that were all really like-hearted. And Paul, our mentor, he asked us to do him a favor one day. His wife, who's like our sister now, her parents were in a really horrible accident, and her father passed away.
Oh, wow.
And he asked if we could, he was like, I know you guys used to be in event planning and stuff like that. Can you help plan the funeral? Like, yeah, of course. So we planned this beautiful like celebration of life. We went up and up to Sausalito for the service, and we met all of Paul's other business partners. And so, it was a beautiful event. We came back home to LA, and Paul called us and said, "Girls, I'm sitting down." And we're like, "Yeah, we're sitting down." He's like, "Yeah, you remember Tim, right?" And we're like,
Yeah. Sure.
And he's like, "Yeah, well, he's like my partner in this, my partner in that. He's one of the mine owners." And, he just was really impressed with the giving that you guys have done, not only to dear Mark, but to Lisa, his wife, and helping plan this ceremony. And he just sees what you've done with Peak Experience and Because I Rock. And, he is shifting some things around and wants to gift his portion of the mine to you girls. And that's how we became the first African-American domestic mine owners, is he gifted us his share of the mine. And we still cry like every time, because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
I'm like, let me close my mouth.
Yeah. It's so many things, at the same time, but it's like, for us, it's about following, our passion of being good people, but, so just, being ready to receive, and having that faith that, it's like, again, another confirmation that we're doing what we should be doing.
Right.
So any down days, we're like, no, like, this has been chosen for us. Nothing else.
You talk about
we are going to make this successful, no matter what. We are going to continue mining.
Yeah. We gotta go back.
Well, you own it now. I mean, here's the thing. You have mentioned a couple of times, Jazmine, about being open to receive. Where did you, because I know as Black women, we are very guarded, and we're very, I got this, I can do it myself. What opened up in you, or how did it open up for you to be open to receive anything, let alone such an amazing gift?
I don't want to say the pandemic, but I think that the pandemic gave us all time to really evaluate what was important to us in life. And we all lost a lot, and whether it was people, jobs, places,
money,
homes, money, so forth. I think that we all had to stop and kind of see what was important. And for me, one of the things that I started doing, I started studying EFT, which is like tapping. Yeah. And just really connecting, like both of us, we were like, let's just connect with nature. Like we started going on camping trips, we pulled some tents out, and it's like Black girls camping. And we had to do that really for our girls. Like we have had these tween girls that life doesn't stop just because everything shuts down. And, there were still lessons to teach them. Me personally, my daughter has Down syndrome, and she's very high functioning. So most people wouldn't know, especially the attitude that comes.
And the attitude.
The attitude comes. But when I had her, it was, I had to learn to be ready. So I think that's where it started. I had to learn to like let go of what I thought life was about and embrace what life was giving me. There's a wonderful poem called "Welcome to Holland" that people from the Down Syndrome Society and associations give to mothers in the hospital when they find out that they have a baby with Down syndrome. And it's the poem in short is about, you plan this like great trip to France. You're going to Paris, and you get on the plane, and the pilot says this plane is going to Holland. And you're like, wait, I made all these plans to go to Paris. I mapped it out. I know what restaurants I'm going to. This is supposed to be the trip of my life. and you land in Holland and you realize that it's the most beautiful and peaceful place. You know, it's, you know, really about like taking what life gives you. It's not always going to work out the way that you want, but there's so many beautiful things that come out of it. And I wouldn't change anything about my daughter. Like, I'm like, she's my gift. She's taught me so much that I wouldn't have learned if I had not had her, you know? So, you know, for me, when I say ready to receive, I think it started with my daughter, but I think it was amplified during the pandemic of like, you know what, like, again, life is not what we plan it to be. And we just got to make the best out of it. And we, you know, got to enjoy it because we only get one.
Yeah. And I was determined to not ever have to decorate another Christmas tree ever again in my life. If I never had to get on that ladder, I was going to find a way to never have to get on that ladder. That was my motivation.
She's been saying that for 4 years. Like, this is my last year.
Oh.
Now she's like, wait.
You can't even watch a Charlie Brown Christmas anymore, can you?
Oh my goodness. Well, now I get my own tree and I get to enjoy it with my family, you know, and what happened with me being a florist for 20 something, like my first client was Aaliyah. If that gives you any idea of how long I've been doing this. And
now well, I know black don't crack, but neither one of you look old enough to have this amazing.
Thank you. Well,
I mean, the longevity, I should say.
Our later 40s. But
now, Ivy, are you from Chicago?
No, I'm from Monterey, California.
Oh, you're okay. I rarely meet people from California.
Right. And I moved to Washington, D.C. when I went to Howard.
Okay.
And stayed there for some time and then ended up moving to New York City when this one moved. And after 9/11, we were all there in New York for 9/11. You know, all of our lives changed. And I had an epiphany that I should move my business that I just started and I should move it to LA. And really, it was because I knew there was more real estate. I did large scale flowers. And so I could do, you know, a lot.
So did you do like what Preston Bailey does? Those type of.
Yeah, I know. I've met Preston Bailey. Yes.
I met him one time and fell in love. It was like.
He is one of the most amazing designers. I wasn't apt to his level, obviously, but one of my inspirations. And you
very
know,
close. She's very close. I call her like the
sure.
Hours. She's like, oh, give me 2 twigs and then just what you do. All of a sudden, like, what?
That's what the challenge was. You had to always be on this, you know, having to come up with the next idea and the next, and they wanted it all bigger and better and bigger. You know, and I had one client that wanted me to give them 3 examples for every one arrangement so that they could choose. So you imagine having to do 3 times the work just so that they can say, choose that one. And then I had one client write all of their notes for them, you know, and then so that way they could choose which note they wanted. And they would have me give 3 notes and then they would choose from the 3 notes. And that was their way of giving a message to the person, you know. And so you realize that they're disconnected from what true life really is about. And I remember a lot of them, you know, really going into buying luxury purses and luxury this and that and jewelry. And it wasn't until this life that I've been gifted or that we've been gifted that I realized how little that means. And they might be dripping in these jewels, but they cannot tell you where any of them came from. And what we're able to do is actually go and get our own jewels. We are gem hunters. We're actually gem hunters, you know,
things like that.
Wow. What is that?
Be able to put your hand in the earth and pull out something that has been there for millions of years. And then you get to own that and wash it. We call it birthing it. You birth your crystal when you wash it. And then you're the first person to see it. That's what's life-changing. Like not going to these red carpet shows and dressed in jewels, going to a mountain and putting your hand in the earth and pulling out a big, huge gemstone. That's what's going to change you. And that's what I know that I can never live without ever, ever, ever again.
So how has it, not just the business, but being able to physically be in the ground every day, how has that shifted you personally?
Well, I think the thing is we only go about 4 times a year.
Okay.
To the mines, because both of our mines are only open for small seasons.
Now,
Like the
why are
one
they open for small seasons?
so the one that's under the lake, it's because we have to drain the lake.
Oh,
We have to run the water pumps, 24 hours a day for the 3 weeks that it's open, and they're both very expensive. Both of those mines operate at about $50,000 a day. So it's very expensive to run. We have, staff out there that's driving the excavators, and we have to rent the excavators and, rent the dynamite equipment and all that kind of stuff. So it's a quite expensive operation for our partners that got into it, what their final use of the product is. Okay. And their final the product is they got into mining for the find. They're looking for the Hope Diamond. They in the fine mineral world. So they find, perfect specimen. They sell it, at the gem shows at Tucson and Denver and Germany. I call them, and they're $1 million rocks. It's like they pull out pieces and they're like, oh, that'll pay for the dig for the year, and then like
they're like, okay,
that's the material that they're looking for. And when we go, we get to dig for it too, but it's company property if we find the $1 million piece. And then the assets of the sale help pay for the digs, and then whatever's left over from operations and stuff like that, then we all get to split. When we went the first time, and that's what we brought back to them when we went to meet with Paul, was we realized that there was a lot of material that was being discarded. And mostly when you go to like crystal shops and you see like those polished stones, those shards, are not fully perfect gems, are normally sorted, they're cleaned, and then they're sold to people that will tumble them. They're, sold to people that will tumble them and then sell them to crystal shops. So they get rounded pieces of, oh, this is smoky quartz, oh, this is that, and people make bracelets out of them. And, there's all different kinds of end use that could be for them, but they're only open a small season. So it's not like they're constantly producing that material. For us, so it's like their business in that market isn't that grand, because they're not, it's not like the huge mines where they're day in and day out collecting this material, and then they have vendors that they're mailing them out to all over. So for us, when we started doing the cleaning, we were like, wait, we can box this up dirty. They're like, wait, you have people paying you to clean crystals?
It's like their biggest expense. They're like, you know how much money you have to pay to get these things clean? Sources, you gotta do. So it's like they were like, you guys are genius. We were like, wait, like it's such an experience that people don't get to have, and nobody else is doing it. Like, not be the first people doing it, And so that, like, for us was like, we're doing something different. We're doing something unique, and like the joy that we get of mining when we go mining, because it's, again, the most exhilarating thing in the world to go into the mud and go into the mountain. We've been to like different kinds of mines because now we're part of the mining community, so that our partners have us go to mines, and we're like, oh, now we get to mine for gold. Ooh, now we get to but when
so you've been to a gold mine?
Yeah, which is a whole different experience. It's inside the cave. Like, that's what we're going to.
And you do it with a metal
detector. So it's like, So, but what we do now is we have our online store where we sell our kits, and this is like what one of our kits look like. Kits looks like, it's just like a little simple box. We give you instructions with it, and you get a bag of dirty crystals. You get your own little like toothbrush to wash it off. You get your own little like cleaning solution and shine solution. So it's like a whole little experience.
It's a mining.
It's a mining experience in the box.
You all should do subscription boxes.
You know what? We are getting into doing ones as we acquire more mines, because our
hold up, flex.
Yes,
as we acquire more mines.
Yes,
that's right.
Because our whole selling point is that, and that we mine them ourselves.
Right.
It's like you can get other ones from all over the world, but like these are ones that are domestic, and that they're hand chosen by either us or one of our partners. Okay. So as we start it, then we'll have enough to do like a monthly subscription. But right now we offer 3 different stones. We offer smoky quartz, amethyst, or Herkimer diamonds. And in it, it's, you know, we do it as these boxes, which is great, but then we also do live events. Okay. And that's where we get like our joy, like, because our customers hug us after they're like, it's just cool. And then they hug us. Or it's like at every event, at least one person starts crying. They're like, oh, it's connecting me. I feel the power from it.
It's about the story.
It's
about the story.
That are either, you know, like we get the holy rollers to like the Bible, the crystal thumpers. We get, right. And then the little kids. Like the last event, big event we did, 2 events ago, this little boy came by and he's like, it's like the veins are popping out of his neck. He was so excited. And so he watched one and he's like, this is the coolest thing ever. And he just kept coming back over and he was picking up rocks around the park and bringing them back and giving them to me. Now, you know, and it's like, so to have this joy, like the joy of this kid, you know, like just so happy it like made my day. And then we do another event and he comes speeding around the corner, same kid. He's like, so we get such joy out of minding ourselves and then seeing other people have the same like experience that we had, that same awe. Like
we call ourselves crystal doulas because we sit over there and we watch over their shoulder and just wait for their excitement. And every single time they say, "Oh my God," you know, it's really like we've been able to experience the power of awe and witness that whenever anyone is washing crystals. They are in awe. They can't believe that this little muddy rock is turned into a jewel, like right in front of their eyes, just with water and a toothbrush. And having that experience, being able to sell that experience from, you know, the smallest kits to doing what we now have is our crystal caboose, which is our little trailer that we take with us whenever we're doing events, which is the coolest thing. It's like a little coffee cafe cart that we go inside and sell our crystals from there, which is our favorite. So
cute. You got to check. It's on our Instagram. So when you get off, check our Instagram. It's
now, does the crystal caboose have its own Instagram page?
No, not yet, because we just have, and we actually talked about that earlier today about doing a follow the caboose. Yes, follow the caboose, because right now we're taking it to private parties and private events, but we starting soon. My darling is having surgery next week. Yes. So she's having hip surgery next week. So say your prayers out there for Ivy over here. Yes. And after she recovers from her surgery, we're going to start our Follow the Caboose campaign. Yeah. Where we will be popping up in random locations for people to come and wash crystals.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be so fun. Yes. That would be so fun. So what were the challenges that you all had as you were building this business? Because a lot of people, and I'm asking this question because the stats have come out that over 40% of Black women are leaving corporate America and they're starting their own companies for reasons of, you all know the reasons. Not feeling safe, not feeling acknowledged, all of those things. So as business women, one, that you all have been in business for a long time, what are some of the things that women should look for as they open up their own companies? And what are the challenges that you all have had making the shift into a whole new world?
I think for us, that our biggest challenge has been financing. You know, we pieced together every bit of self-funding that we could. And we're still struggling. You know, we're still like, but our passion keeps us motivated. So like I said, even when we're on our down days, we're like, we are chosen to do this and we're going to do this. Yep. We're going to start a GoFundMe if we need to, which we did. And we're going to figure it out. But I think that the biggest challenge, especially for African-American women, is funding, you know, and it's, you know, they're not giving us credit from the door. Yeah. They're not giving us, you know, they're like, you can come open a bank account here, but we're not giving you a credit card, you know? So it's like, there's that I think with anybody is a challenge. I think the other challenge for us is that nobody's done this before.
Right.
So going and trying to raise funding or capital has been difficult in that lens. The great thing about it, though, is that as Black women, we've gotten so much support from other women. And not only just women of color, like we've gotten support from women in general that are just like, you girl, go get this. We have 2 stores here in LA that brought us in to have residencies. So we have standing events at 2 different stores here in LA that are both women owned. One is Black woman owned. One is white woman owned. But her full community is embracive of, and they embrace all different
all the
types
people
and being. And so being able to have other Black women, and we do events all around the city. Most of them are run by women of color. That we found that support in that community so strong that it gives us such determination to be like, all right, we don't need a big old bank right now. We're gonna make this work. We're gonna figure this out. So I think that the advice that we try to give, because we've been asked, this question in a couple different ways, is like, build your community, and like figure out who has your back, who believes in you. Like, we do a lot of social stuff, and we share social stuff with other Black women and other business owners, women business owners. And it's helped us to propel to where we are and help them to propel to where they are. Because it's like, it's good to know somebody has your back.
Yeah.
We both are HBCU grads. So, we reach out to our community. Like, look, come on, y'all. Like, we need to stick together. We need to support each other.
And then also use as many free resources as you can. There are so many programs, government programs out there that you can tap into. We've been using SCORE, which is score.org, and they match you with a mentor. The mentor's job is to teach you how to do it. Like, they won't make the contacts for you. They're going to teach you how to write the right press release so that you can get a lot more, pub. And then, we do a lot of putting ourselves out there. We call the radio stations, we call the TV stations, we send out as many, alerts about what we're doing as we can, because we know that this is a new concept. And no matter who we're bringing it to, we are the first. And we know that they're going to be seeing this for the first time. And that's always, that's always a challenge. I remember we did a party. It was actually at Miley Cyrus's house. And she had us promote. She's one of our clients, but he loves washing crystals. So a whole bunch of crystals to her house, and for all different varieties for her friends to wash. And one of her friends brought her own crystals because she thought that we were supposed to be washing her crystals. And that was, when she heard she's going to be there to wash crystals, she assumed that that's what that was. And so I
call it like the Xerox effect. When Xerox first started making copy machines, people didn't know what a Xerox was, or like what a copy, it's like, so you had to explain, and they had to give a demonstration. And you can't walk around selling copy machines by carrying big copy machines. They used to be huge. So it's like, we're stuck in that same dilemma of like explaining to people what it is. We've gotten better at it. We've gotten better at it. We've gotten better at like our elevator pitch. Our live events, people can't leave. Everybody else is shutting down, and they have to come over and be like, girls, it's time to shut down. Like, I know you saw customers, but so people. But we've been trying, we've been working over the last 2 years, really, to develop it into something that we don't have to be in front of you telling the story for you to get it. And we sent boxes out, or, people that have received boxes. We just got an email yesterday from a mom that said that someone bought one for her daughter, and how cool was it? And now she wants to do a party. She's like, this is the coolest thing ever. So we're starting to see that people, that we don't have to be in front of you to explain it to you anymore, that they're getting it. And we're no longer just the Xerox. You know?
It's like the computer. It's like, what is this thing? That's what you should say. We're the internet of crystals. We're just the beginning. We're just the beginning. This is so beautiful. Like, I'm so happy for you all. Any way that I can support you. I mean, I'm in St. Louis, but any way that I can support you, please reach out. I love to see Black women win.
Yeah.
Especially in an arena that I don't want to get into like a, power to the people conversation, but an arena that we've been locked out of.
Yes.
And see that someone said, I'm going to open the door and let these young women in and let them do what they need to do. And you all have already innovated with your experiences. You've already innovated the industry. And oh my goodness, that is beautiful. I'm so glad you all are sharing the story. And like I said, truthfully, any way that I can assist you, please reach out. I know we don't know each other, but you reach part of the community.
Sisters in Spirit. And we're gonna mail you a crystal. So you have to give us your address so we can mail you a kit.
Oh, definitely. What so you are still challenged in financing. What other avenues are you all looking at to bring in income to your business, or are you still looking for financing?
We're still looking for financing. We're writing grants every day, just about every day. We are doing grassroots just with GoFundMe and tip jars. We've put together a pretty detailed plan that we're working with our SCORE advisor, to start with venture capitalists, and just trying. And then we're hustling sales every week at events. Right. We're doing. We're still doing the. Right now, my whole entire car is parked outside, filled with stuff. So we're hitting from all angles. We're hustlers. At the end of the day, that's how Black women. That's what we are. We want to make it work. We're moms.
That's why they call us magic, because they're like, how did you do this? I don't know. You just had to do it. It wasn't a choice.
Exactly. So we've been approached by a lot of different people that are like, oh, are you guys looking for investors? Are you guys looking for this? Are you guys looking for that? Like, how do we get into mine ownership and things like that? So we've been, approaching conversations, but our ultimate goal is to be able to raise the funds and, keep ownership of the company, and grow it, and then be in and have something that we can hand down to our kids, and, a legacy for us. It's something that, we can pass on to our girls and be like, now you guys are mine owners too.
Oh my goodness. It's like Little House on the Prairie. You're starting with the bare roots, and then eventually you all will be Tiffany and Company.
That's what we're going for.
I always tell people, I'm like, be careful with investors though, because it's not always as beautiful as people think it is. Yeah. And it's great right now to get capital, but 5 years later, then you're going to be, you all know, you've been in many industries, you've seen it. So as much as you can do on your own, and I know that's hard to say, and especially when you got mouths to feed.
Yep. That's the avenue that we're trying to go, because and that's something else we discussed early on, is that we want to retain as much ownership as we can, because that's how you win,
That is how you win, because if you look at Walmart, they're still a family company.
Yeah, exactly.
They are still a family company. So what is next for you all?
Oh, it's funny, when we sent our plan to our mentor, he was like, woo, that's a lot. He's like, so this is like the 20-year plan? And we're like, yeah, So I think we have enough on our plate as far as what we've laid out we want to do.
Right.
The Crystal Caboose was kind of our next big move, is getting this, and it's the cutest little thing. 5 years down the line, we want to have a fleet of them and be franchised in other cities. We, have our, flagship location planned out of how we want to build it and what we want it to look like and all of those different things. But, I think it's a 10-year, I said maybe a 10, 15-year plan, not a 20-year.
Well, where you all are going, it might be next year.
Yeah. We do a documentary style show about, we've come up with a concept called Minding Her Business. To show like Black women in the mining industry, even just women in the mining industry. We have a couple other friends that we've met now that are young women that are, top tier, either mine owners or, top office of mine owners that are young. And we all go mining together now. We're like, girl, it's I think introducing this world and this industry to people in that aspect not only helps our brand, but it educates people on, you can be doing this too. So we have a lot of plans in the future.
A lot of plans.
And it's disruptive because we tend to teach our kids, go be a doctor, lawyer, baller, all of those top 5 professions. Mm-hmm. But when you talk to the people who are billionaires, they're like, oh, I just make widgets. Yeah, I manufacture widgets. You do what? I make, the little tip of the tennis shoe. I make that. Yeah. And we're worth $20 billion. It's like widget world is where it's at.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is beautiful. I have one more question before we go. I could talk to you all forever about crystals, but I know you're busy doing your business. So I always ask everybody, what is your Black girl magic superpower?
Oh, that's a good one.
I think we have, I know personally, I think I can speak of your superpower.
Okay.
You have a very kind heart.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, she's a very kind-hearted person. Like she kind of is the warm person in the room that everyone gravitates to. And not to say that I'm not kind-hearted.
No, she's very kind.
But that's what I recognize most about you as being your superpower. And that's why everyone gravitates around you. You're kind of like a glue. When 9/11 happened and we were all in different places all over New York City, and we all had to make our way through, the horrible day that we all experienced, we all ended up on her doorstep. We all ended up on Jazmine's doorstep. And it was, we didn't have cell phone. You couldn't call anybody. You had to literally find your way through the city the best way you could. There were no subways, no taxis. You had to walk places. And I personally found a yellow page book that was hanging from a phone and found the bar that we would frequent that was across the street from her house. There was a bar that we would go to all the time, and it was across the street from her house. I was like, if I could find that bar, I can find her apartment. And I found the bar in that yellow page book, and I remember walking up to her building, and then I had to find the apartment because I didn't know which one it was. And finally, the door opens, and it was like an episode of This Is Your Life. It was all of our 20 people, friends from, college and before college, after college, old boyfriends, old girlfriends, it was everyone.
Baby mamas.
All the baby mamas. All the baby mamas. Right. And we all ended up on your doorstep, and that was for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And
that is magic.
Is Ivy brings people together. She likes to call herself the party starter.
A little bit.
She likes to call herself.
I am.
And I think that's why we're yin and yang, because we both our yin and yangs work with each other to draw people in.
Right.
Ivy's the type that she's gonna make sure everybody is having fun.
Yeah.
She's also gonna make sure everybody has a blanket at the end of the night. Yeah. She's like the mom in the group. That she's like the cool. She's not like the mom. She's like the cool auntie that's like fun, but I'm not gonna let y'all get in trouble. Like I'm gonna everybody at the end.
You're the one everybody calls before they call their mama.
Exactly. I love it. There's auntie, because I'm like, look, when you get in trouble, call her.
Yeah,
she'll come get you.
I will.
She'll come get you. She'll tell me everything, but she'll tell you she won't tell me everything.
Yeah. That's the agreement that we have.
Oh my goodness.
Our other superpower is that we believe in ourselves to no end. Yeah. There is nothing that will keep us from getting this business, to the place that we want it to go to. There's nothing. Mm-hmm. And we both know that. And so when you have that, and that's your driving force, you get up every day knowing that your business is going to be successful. then it kind of makes you're not working at all. Like we're living the dream.
It's funny. I saw that. I actually reposted on my personal Instagram today. It was this experiment where a guy was holding a tuning fork, and it was a tuning fork for like 412 hertz. And he held another tuning fork next to it that was like 500 and something hertz, and he banged it and nothing happened. And then he held up a second tuning fork that was also 412 hertz. And when he hit it, the ball started bouncing off of the other one. And the whole idea was that when two things are in line and in harmony, like other reactions can happen. If your frequencies aren't on the same line, then it's chaos. It's like stillness. But for us, I think we work so well together that it's like it's just moving us forward. Like it's clearing the path for us.
It is.
Yeah.
That's just
the door swung open and we simply walked through.
Yeah.
That is, I'm sitting here because I'm thinking you're like, oh, we had to go get finance. And you're like, no, it was a gift. It's really beautiful. One, that you were in the space to receive it. And two, that he was in the space to gift it.
Yes.
Especially when you're talking about a cultural chasm.
Yes.
And financial chasm.
Person third removed from the person that we picked up. So this was not be rescued. This is not the person to be our mentor.
He just met you at a funeral.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, by the way, here you go.
Yes. And now we're like, oh, he was watching us the whole time.
I think that's also, for us, it's motivation because it's, somebody's believed in us, and all believed in us. And, it's not that we have anything to prove to them, but when you have that power behind you, you're like, well, I've got, we can't just take this opportunity and let it flop. Like we've got to make it work now.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it or die trying.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's how you do it.
Yep.
Because clearly this is what you were, everything was in place for it to happen. You didn't have to find celebrities to get the experience. You have that. You didn't have to find, a way to do it. It came to you. So everything, not only did you receive it, you attracted it. So that, and both of you were glowing. So I already know that you're magical beings. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. You are welcome anytime to come and chat with me. And tell your friend the beautiful artwork is amazing.
Thank you. You can look her up. She's fantastic. I mean, she blows us away.
But I have to tell you, this has been a very inspiring conversation. It is a exercise in trust and faith, and you all have passed the test. And the fact that you said yes, because we often say no to what we've been praying for.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really inspired, and I'm so grateful that you all said yes to me.
Oh.
So, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So are you gonna go digging some dirt now, or sending out
daily wash? We get to wash 2 crystals a day. That's what we allow each other to wash. So we'll wash.
Can't get hot supply. You're only allowed to do 2 a day.
Otherwise, you'd be there all day.
All day.
Very, very.
Well, now we started videotaping it so that we could at least use it for social. Because before we were washing, I'm like, they were like, hold on a second, maybe we could videotape these. So we got about making our habit productive.
Yes.
That's amazing. Well, thank you again. I appreciate you all being here. And like I said, you are welcome anytime. This has been a beautiful conversation. I can't wait for you all to hear it all done up.
Look forward to it. And send you a box.
Send us your information so we can send you a box.
Oh, I can't. Listen, I'm going to be like a little kid in the middle of the floor.
And then you just have to take a before picture.
Okay.
Before you get them clean, and then send us the before and the after. That's all we ask for.
Oh, I definitely will. Do you all know Cedar Lewis?
No.
That owns Miracle Buttercream?
No, I don't.
Okay. She was on the show a couple of months ago, but She is Butch Lewis's daughter, but she started, she used to be in television production. So you all were talking about a TV show.
Yes, yes.
And now
absolutely.
she has her own miracle buttercream. She sells what is it? Shea butter. She makes her own butters. So I'm gonna connect you all via email, and maybe you all can do some connecting.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Again, thank you all for being on the Black Women Amplified podcast. I really appreciate your time and your energy and your stories and sharing all the things. And may God continue to gift you with everything you need in full abundance and prosperity. And I'll talk to you all soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Have
Bless
a good day.
you.
Bless
Thank
you.